Hey everyone, ready for a deep dive. Today we're tackling uncertainty, turning that fear of the unknown into, well, fuel for brilliance. We're using Jonathan Field's uncertainty as our guide.
This one's perfect for anyone facing a tough decision, a challenging project, or if you just want to unlock some of that creative potential.
Definitely. And Fields doesn't waste any time, does he? He jumps right in, challenging that whole play it safe mentality.
Yeah, he suggests those predictable outcomes, well, they've probably been explored already.
So sticking to the familiar, it's actually limiting our potential. But doesn't predictability offer some comfort? How do we balance security with embracing uncertainty?
Great point. It's not about being reckless, more like being okay with not knowing. Fields talks about this study by Frank Snasny where those who accepted uncertainty, they were actually more creative.
Or creative, how so?
They were more comfortable with ambiguity, more persistent when it came to solving problems, more receptive to new ideas. And think about it, those aha moments, that thrill of discovering something new that comes from being open to the unknown.
Okay, yeah, I see that. But how do we shift from feeling frozen by uncertainty to actually using it as a driving force? How do we tap into that?
Well, one way is by showing a willingness to take risks. Fields argues that signals commitment not just to ourselves, but to the world. It attracts support, resources, collaborators, people who, resonate with our vision.
It's like sending up a flare of slad. I'm serious about this. Who's in?
Exactly. Think of Boyan Slat.
The ocean cleanup guy.
Yes, he had this audacious idea, and because of his commitment, his willingness to take that risk, it fueled a massive crowdfunding campaign. People saw he was all in and wanted to be part of it. That kind of transparency about uncertainty, it can be incredibly powerful.
Now, while some thrive on risk, others, well, they need a bit more structure. What about those who aren't naturally drawn to the unknown?
Even the biggest risk takers need some grounding, especially when navigating uncertainty. So Fields introduces what he calls certainty anchors. Routines, rituals, those are stabilizing forces.
So it's not about being spontaneous all the time. It's about creating a foundation, something to handle those moments of uncertainty when they pop up.
Exactly. Think about your routines or rituals. Morning coffee, time for brainstorming, even a weekly call with a friend who challenges you to think differently. How can you leverage those to feel grounded amidst all the uncertainty?
Makes sense. Especially for solo entrepreneurs, juggling all those different roles. Having routines could help make it easier to switch gears without getting overwhelmed.
Absolutely. And along with those anchors, feedback also plays a key role. Fields argues that even uncomfortable criticism, it can help us shift from uncertainty to, well, certainty.
Interesting. How do we make feedback work for us, not against us? How do we not let it make us feel defeated?
One way is through what he calls creative hives, communities of like-minded people.
Like the Techstars community.
Yeah, a space to workshop ideas, refine your approach with people who get it. That shared experience makes uncertainty feel less, well, less isolating.
Like it's just part of the journey.
Exactly. And don't underestimate trusted relationships. Mentors, partners, colleagues, even friends, they can provide that essential feedback loop.
Imagine developing a new product, convinced it's the next big thing, but no outside input. You could be way off base. But if you're getting feedback all along the way, you're way more likely to end up with something people actually want.
And remember, you're still in control. Feedback is a tool, not a dictator. It's about being open to insights while staying true to your own vision.
We've got these anchors to ground us, feedback to guide us. But what about training our minds and bodies to handle those moments when uncertainty feels overwhelming?
While Fields talks about something called attentional training, AT, it involves both physical and mental exercises. Physically, things like running, biking, even a brisk walk can clear your head and boost your mood. Mentally, practices like meditation, visualization, paying attention to your breath can strengthen your focus.
How does this all tie back to uncertainty?
They build resilience, enhancing your ability to concentrate, manage stress.
I remember reading about a study from Leeds Metropolitan University. They found that employees who exercised during the workday, they had a better mood, better interpersonal skills, and even better work performance.
Exactly. Our minds and bodies, they're connected, and taking care of both is crucial. And speaking of feeling overwhelmed, what happens when we hit that wall? When the fear of failure creeps in, those doubts become paralyzing.
And that fear of failure, it's something so many of us wrestle with, We have these big dreams, but sometimes that fear of falling flat on our faces, it stops us in our tracks. How do we get past that?
Well, Fields talks about two different mindsets, the fixed mindset and the growth mindset.
Okay.
With the fixed mindset, we believe our talents are, predetermined. Failure becomes proof of our limitations.
Like saying, oh, I'm just not a math person, and giving up before you even try.
Exactly. But with a growth mindset, we believe our abilities can be developed through, effort, learning, challenges become opportunities, and feedback, even the tough kind. It's valuable information to help us improve.
I love that shift from I can't to I can learn. Does Fields give any examples of how these mindsets play out, like in real life?
He uses the example of students tackling those, challenging test questions. The ones with a fixed mindset, they give up easily, believing their struggles are due to a lack of ability. But those with a growth mindset, they keep pushing, trying different approaches, seeing setbacks as stepping stones to, mastering the material.
So how do we actually cultivate that growth mindset, especially when facing uncertainty? It's easy to talk about embracing failure, but actually doing it when you feel so vulnerable, that's tough.
Well, one way is by asking ourselves three questions that Fields outlines. He says, what if I fail, then recover? What if I do nothing? What if I succeed?
Okay, let's unpack those. What if I fail, then recover? Why start there?
It forces us to move past that initial fear and consider, well, the possibility of bouncing back. Often our anxieties, they make failure seem like, this insurmountable thing, but focusing on the recovery helps us see it as a temporary setback, a chance to learn.
And as we talked about earlier, having those certainty anchors and support systems, that can make the recovery process so much smoother. What about, what if I do nothing? Why is that a scary question?
It highlights the opportunity cost of inaction. We might avoid the pain of failure, but we also miss out on the potential for growth, for achieving something truly, remarkable. And staying stuck, never taking a chance, that can lead to its own kind of misery, as Fields points out.
It's like that saying, the only thing worse than failing is never having tried at all. Okay, last one. What if I succeed? Sounds pretty straightforward, but what's the deeper value in visualizing success?
It shifts our focus from fear to possibility. By imagining a positive outcome, we start to believe in its potential. And that belief, well, it fuels our actions and commitment.
So it's not just wishful thinking, it's about using that vision as motivation.
Hmm.
By working through all three of these questions, we're essentially creating a more, balanced perspective, right? Failure is still a possibility, but it's not the only possibility.
Exactly. It's about what Fields calls realistic optimism, acknowledging the risks, but believing in our ability to, overcome them. Think about a time you felt stuck or hesitant to take a leap. Maybe an idea for a project, a tough conversation you needed to have, a new skill you wanted to learn. What held you back?
For me, it's often that fear of not being good enough. Like
Yeah.
if I try something new and fail, it'll somehow define me.
That's a common one, and it often comes from that, fixed mindset we were talking about. But what if you applied those three questions to that situation? What if you considered the possibility of failing, learning from it, and coming back stronger? What if you weighed the benefits of taking action against the regrets of staying stuck? And what if you really visualized succeeding, that excitement, the satisfaction of achieving your goal?
Wow, just thinking about it that way, it already feels less daunting. It's like shifting the focus, from the fear to the possibilities.
Exactly. And remember, this is a process. Building a growth mindset takes time, it takes effort. It's about recognizing those negative thought patterns, challenging them, and choosing to focus on the potential for, growth and learning.
So it's not about denying the challenges. It's about having a more balanced, empowered perspective, right? To acknowledge the risks, but still keep moving forward.
Precisely.
We've covered a lot in our deep dive into Jonathan Field's uncertainty, challenging that playing it safe comfort zone, building certainty anchors, reframing how we view failure. But now it's time to put it all into practice.
Yeah, we've taken apart fear, explored the power of mindset, found some tools to handle the unknown. Now, how do we actually, put those insights into action?
Right, knowing is one thing, but actually doing something, that's where the magic happens. What's one tangible step our listeners can take, like today, to start embracing uncertainty in a positive way?
Think back to what we were just discussing. Find one area in your life where you're feeling stuck, hesitant, maybe a little afraid to take that leap.
Could be anything, right? Finally starting that side hustle you've been dreaming of, having that tough conversation you've been putting off, even signing up for that pottery class that's always intrigued you.
Exactly. Don't let the fear stop you. Remember those three questions from Fields. What if I fail? Then recover. What if I do nothing? What if I succeed?
And don't just think about them, actually write them down. Really explore those scenarios. What would you need to bounce back from a setback? What opportunities might you miss if you stay stuck? And what does that dream outcome actually look and feel like?
By going through that exercise, you're not eliminating uncertainty, you're reframing it. You're shifting your perspective from fear to possibility. You're giving yourself the power to act, even when things are, uncertain.
It's all about that realistic optimism we were talking about, right? Recognizing the risks, but believing in our ability to handle them. That one small step, that one act of courage could lead to something incredible.
Fields makes a great point. He says that it's often in those uncertain moments, those leaps of faith, that we discover our strengths, our most innovative ideas, our truest selves, even.
What a thought to end on. It's not about being fearless. It's about learning to dance with uncertainty, seeing it not as an obstacle, but as a catalyst for growth. And yeah, for brilliance.
Exactly. The magic happens outside of your comfort zone. Embrace it.
And on that note, we wrap up our deep dive into uncertainty. We hope you've come away with some new ideas, maybe challenged a few old assumptions, and most importantly, that you're feeling empowered to navigate the exciting and ever-changing landscape of life. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep embracing the power of uncertainty.